Welcome everyone back to another episode with the legal field and Parkinson's disease, hosted by me, uh, attorney George Ackerman, also known as Sharon son George. I created these kind of shows, quick ones. They're only going to be about 10 minutes, and let's put this on the clock. Go. And I'm calling this court to order. So we're back in session and created these so that you can learn a little bit more about the law. A lot of laws affect so many people, not just in the world, but also specifically people with Parkinson's disease. My mother and I went through some legal issues, and thankfully, we actually hired an attorney, and she was okay, at least through some of the tougher times. So if we could just get everyone out there a little bit more aware of the legal issues, ramifications, and laws, and I've really that's all that would make me happy. So this is really for everyone out there. We don't want anything in return, but so you could protect yourself. Again, welcome to the legal field and Parkinson's disease. We're now moving forward in our episodes. This show, I hope, will bring awareness to the Parkinson's community on important legal topics, including things like today, which probably should have been our first show, but it's called The Law, just about the law. Also, a disclaimer, the show and videos are for educational and informational purposes only. I cannot provide legal advice. I'm only an attorney, or I'm an attorney in Florida and Washington. But please contact a local for, like your local jurisdiction, such as bar association, for any legal advice, or make sure that your attorney is certified and through the literal bar, because you don't want to get someone who's not bar uh, barred really. And they don't have to be board certified, but they do have to have their proper license. So check all that out through the bar of your state. So now, as we enter this courtroom today, hopefully you enjoy our background. And if you have any questions and things or laws you want me to cover, feel free to also please reach out. Some things that I thought were really important is just understanding the legal field. Legal field is a profession that involves the study, development, and application of the law. It includes many roles like lawyers, such as myself, judges. We have paralegals. I've had paralegals for my law firm and also court reporters. They're usually stenographers, people who take notes and make sure everything's documented for trial. Some of you might watch Law and Order and some of your favorite shows out there in the legal field, and maybe we're wondering, why they're doing that or what the purpose is. As far as in the court, we have lawyers advise and represent clients in legal matters, including we have criminal versus civil trials, which I can talk about. They also research and analyze legal issues, interpret laws, and prepare legal documents. So just to start, a little bit information, we have civil versus criminal courts. A lot of the fun ones are really criminal, because that's where some believe is the excitement, like court TV. So you can go on courttv.com, look up some of the most infamous sometimes cases. I remember many watching the OJ trials that was going on court TV. Criminal cases are different than civil. Criminal individuals can be punished in jail, prison. It all depends on the crime that they committed, and also if it was proven that they had the intent and the culpability of the crime. So there's a prosecutor and defense attorney. I worked as both during my career. I did the internship at the prosecutor's office, then also had white collar criminals or defendants and clients in the criminal side. That's the important thing about criminal. So you can actually also have monetary punishment as a burden of proof. It's much more interesting. It's the beyond a reasonable doubt in criminal versus preponderance of the evidence in civil. It's obviously still a high burden in civil court, but some believe you can definitely meet that burden a little bit easier. In a criminal trial, you have to prove again beyond a reasonable doubt. So you have to imagine if someone has any doubt that that defendant charged with that crime and the elements brought from the police to the prosecutor, that prosecutor decided to bring the case and felt they had enough elements of the crime to charge the defendant, then that means that they have to prove each element. The defense does not really have to do anything except disprove what the prosecution is trying to prove. And I always say, imagine you have a football field, you just have to make or hope that that jury, so you have a jury, can convince them, most all of them, that that individual is the right person, did have the intent charge under the complaint, which is a charging document, to find them guilty. It's not an easy burden, very hard, difficult. So we have voir dire, which is where the lawyers pick the jury. Some of you might have even been on jury duty. That's our civil, or, it's really like a requirement, but it is something that civilly, as an American in this country, we have a very high right burden, but it's very valuable and important. We also have the judge who oversees the trial and appeals. So sometimes a case, if it's lost, they can appeal. Many times they always do appeal. We have paralegals who help the lawyers research and prepare documents. Court reporters will type out every word of a trial to be used in really for the record. Sometimes you'll have mediators who that's more civil, try to settle cases. Also, civil cases are very different. We have a plaintiff and a defendant. One will sue, it's usually through a complaint sue, so that's more suing. There's likely no jail time or prison in a civil case, and that's not true in criminal. So criminal again, probably likely depending if it's a felony or misdemeanor, you can see a jail. If it's felony, it's going to be more prison time. But again, everything here is just kind of general. We would need many more facts. I also never like to what if things because then we can be here for 100 hours. And again, this is just kind of a summary so you have little knowledge on the law. In civil law, we also have civil rights type areas. We have employment law, which is going to be an elder law, which is some of the areas that I really want to focus on other shows. Family, juvenile, health, immigration, and intellectual property like trademarks and things. So those are some of the examples of the world of the legal field and the law. I want to share a few little things with you fast, and then we'll conclude today. But I do want to say if you have any legal kind of questions, not specific on your case, but feel free to email them to togetherforsharon.com or togetherforsharon@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to take a look and try to cover some of those topics. Now, here you'll see a few websites. This is a great one called theamericanbar.org. Recommend to check it out. You can even sign up. It was formed in 1878, so it's been some time, and they made a commitment to set the legal and ethical foundations for the American nation. So it's a very important organization out there for lawyers and for you, the people of this country, and to understand how to, things like eliminating bias, diversity, what the rule of law is, the history. Back in 1921, they started setting standards for lawyers. So lawyers do have specific standards. They have to take ethical exams too, and not to mention the bar, which is not easy. And believe it's been so long. It was 2 days in Tampa for me, and it was not easy. It was 8 hours a day. It felt like 100 testing, testing, and testing. There's a lot of resources too. Also, overview, you can look up the United States courts, which is obviously one of the best and most accurate out there websites for the legal field. And you can read a lot more about the rule of law, express different types of law on religion. You can see so many things here in the history and the 14th Amendment, civil rights, just tons and tons of information, the Constitution, which guides us. You can learn also about, you can even subscribe free, but we learn a lot here. There's different branches of government, legislation, executive, and judicial branch. And lawyers are really individuals who research, create some specific areas to help their clients and in civil and then criminal to defend their clients, depending on which side they are on. Also, there's findlaw.com. I use this a lot. Here you can go again, findlaw.com. I'll add these to the notes of the show, but you can actually type in different issues and your location and find lawyers. You can find so many different areas. Let's type in employment law. You just in the click of a button can see in Florida, you can click your state and it'll bring you into different areas and cities and states. There's an example, Miami, where they have law firms for specific areas, but it's also a great tool to look up different articles. So here you see a lot of blogs And I just share these resources again, and we're talking actually on the practice of law, just to give you some background information. You can see some of the things that are going on today throughout the country as far as the law, whether criminal and civil, and you can see judge, political ties, prompt misconduct. Lawyers have specific rules and regulations they have to follow, or they can also be disbarred, which you never want. So we touched on a lot of areas today, kind of went over a little, but I was hoping you would have a little bit better of an understanding of the law, and I brought the scales of justice. Here's the scales of justice. Hopefully you can see them. And they say, Lady Justice is never blind to the truth, ethics, and morals of our great system of law as we hear it. Shing ling. So on that note, if they don't work out as good as it, you gotta love Zoom, but I'm gonna call court and now out for the day. So hopefully again, you learned a little bit more about the legal field today. And again, please join me for another episode coming soon to a court near you. And it's just anything I could do to help anyone out there and battling Parkinson's, whether through advocacy or my field, policing. And we just released a book on policing and Parkinson's disease. I think it's very important. This show concentrates more on the law, but we have to make sure officers are trained for their benefit and all people with Parkinson's and caregivers around the world. So again, this has been another episode of the legal field and Parkinson's disease. And I'm attorney George Ackerman, also known as Sharon's son George, because I'm out there fighting for you all in memory of my mother and all those battling Parkinson today and their caregivers, because no one's ever alone in this fight for a cure. But until the cure is at everyone's doorsteps around the world, we still have to keep making sure that we protect your rights, protect our own rights, and lots of things to come. Have a lot of topics. I hope we can get to them all and probably just do this monthly. But some of the topics we'll talk about next are elder law, ADA, Social Security, disability insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, Family and Medical Leave Act, and wills, trust, power of attorney. The topics don't really end because they all really affect us all, and specifically people with Parkinson's. And again, I want you to be able to know a little, but also protect yourself when the time, if it ever does come. Thanks again, everyone. Sending our love and support. Hope to see you soon, and not in a real court, but definitely on the Ackerman in the field court for Parkinson's awareness. Love you all. Thanks.